Have you ever wondered how a few simple words can ignite a revolution of the mind? How one man, who never wrote a single line, could become an eternal icon of wisdom? In the ancient streets of Athens, where gods were worshipped and epic tales were spun, an extraordinary figure emerged, a man who dared to ask a deceptively simple question. What if everything we think we know is merely an illusion? His name was Socrates. More than just a philosopher, he was the spark of critical thinking, the godfather of practical wisdom, and the man who taught us that the only path to truth begins within ourselves. But do you know the full story of this inspiring figure? The journey that led him from the bustling Athenian streets to the courtroom, and from there to immortality? Socrates was born in Athens around 470 BCE. He didn't come from a noble or wealthy family. He was the son of a stonemason and a midwife. He inherited no fortune, but he possessed an extraordinary mind and an unquenchable thirst for truth. In an era where orators vied for rhetorical supremacy to sway crowds and politicians battled for power, Socrates chose a radically different path. Socrates' interests lay not in power or wealth, but in genuine knowledge. He believed that ignorance was the root of all evil, and that the only way to achieve virtue was through knowledge. But not just any knowledge, self-knowledge. This is where Socrates' philosophical journey, which forever altered the course of human thought, truly began. How could a simple man walking barefoot, engaging anyone he met in conversation, become both the most dangerous and most influential man in Athens? That's what we're about to discover. Socrates wasn't a lecturer or an author. His method was unique and unprecedented, the Socratic Method, or relentless. He would wander through public squares and marketplaces, stopping people, from prominent thinkers and politicians to ordinary laborers, and pose seemingly simple questions. What is justice? What is beauty? What is virtue? Yet, these simple questions opened profound avenues of thought. When people confidently offered their answers, Socrates would follow up with another question, then a third and a fourth, leading them to discover for themselves the contradictions in their own ideas or their lack of true understanding on the subject. His goal wasn't to prove them wrong, but to awaken them to the fact that acknowledging ignorance is the first step towards true knowledge. As he famously said, "All I know is that I know nothing." This statement reshaped how humanity approaches understanding. Imagine discovering that everything you once held as certain was merely an assumption. That's what Socrates did. Socrates' philosophy went beyond merely posing questions. He was deeply concerned with ethics and how to live a virtuous life. He believed that virtue lay in knowledge, and that a person commits evil only because they are ignorant of what is truly good for themselves and for others. He advocated for self-control, contemplation, and the pursuit of inner truth. Socrates himself embodied what he preached. He lived a simple life, indifferent to material possessions, and dedicated all his energy to philosophical inquiry. He saw the ultimate goal of human existence as the improvement and purification of the soul from ignorance. This focus on ethics and virtue is what made him a true teacher, not merely a philosopher. He inspired many young people and attracted devoted students, who later became some of the greatest thinkers, such as Plato. Socrates' reputation spread throughout Athens. On one occasion, his close friend Chaerephon visited the oracle of Delphi and asked the priestess, "Is there any man wiser than Socrates?" The shocking reply was, "There is no man wiser than Socrates." Socrates was astonished by this prophecy, as he believed he knew nothing. So he decided to test the prophecy. He began conversing with everyone considered wise in Athens, politicians, poets, craftsmen, and each time he discovered that these wise individuals thought they knew a great deal, but in reality, their knowledge was superficial and full of contradictions. Socrates realized that the oracle's wisdom wasn't about him knowing everything, but because he was the only one who admitted his ignorance. This truth truly made him the wisest. But this discovery came at a steep price by exposing the ignorance of the wise. Socrates became a source of irritation for many in Athens. He was not popular with the politicians whose ignorance he exposed, nor with the sophists who peddled false knowledge. His adversaries accused him of corrupting the youth and not believing in the state gods. In 399 BCE, Socrates was brought to trial. In his defense, he did not beg for mercy, but bravely defended his principles. He told them, "I do nothing but go about persuading you all, old and young alike, not to take thought for your persons or your properties, but first